Hello and welcome back to Lord of the Hoard. And you guys thought that 3 months was bad? Well, let's try 5. And even worse yet, I'm going to just throw this out there. I still haven't beaten it. I was working on Monster Rancher last time, but, well, I warned you in the previous video that pre-order season was coming up. What that means is simply this. I am going to go ahead and I got 4 games pre-ordered that I've been really looking forward to for some time. Now, the reason I'm putting Monster Rancher down now is, well, I also became highly frustrated with the games in a couple of points, not because it's difficult, but because it's a lot of the same thing just over and over, and I can't deal with that repetition right now. But I will be planning to go back to it after pre-order season is over, and I've reviewed all 4 games from that. Now, the 4 games that I've pre-ordered are in order. The first of them was Darksiders 2, followed by Borderlands 2, then XCOM Enemy Unknown, which, and I'd like to note, these 3 are out as of the making of this video. And lastly, we got Assassin's Creed 3. That comes out in a little more than a week, so, I mean, it's not like the games aren't going to be available. Of those 3 games, I've beaten 1 of them so far. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to review that game tonight. And then we're going to go ahead and we'll see where to go from there, because I've still got 2 other games that I need to beat with that, and that is until Assassin's Creed 3 comes out, and then I got more than that. So, without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get Darksiders up here. This is Darksiders 2. Now, I'm going to do a little different with this, simply because it is a second in a series, and we're coming in late on the series since I've already done it. I have beaten the first Darksiders. So what we're going to do is we're just going to go ahead and record and review both of them tonight, just so that we can get 2 reviews in one video, and you don't have to sit through all this again later. So it's all in one video now. So with that, this is Darksiders here. It came out a couple of years ago. It's produced by Vigil Games. Vigil is a subsidiary of THQ, and Darksiders is the only thing they have their hands on at all, which is very cool in my opinion, because that means it's exclusively to them, and they're going to care about their baby a little bit more than normal. So, Darksiders starts off in the modern day. Basically, what it is there are 3 kingdoms. There's the kingdom of man, the kingdom of heaven, and the kingdom of hell. The story loosely comes from Revelations, but they've translated it and changed it slightly so that it doesn't have any real true religious origin, so that, you know, we don't get people being all up in arms over it. So basically, the 3 kingdoms, well, heaven and hell are the oldest kingdoms, and they have a pact saying that they will not take over the kingdom of man until man is ready. But basically what happened is somebody calls Armageddon early, and war is summoned to an Earth that's already being destroyed. Now, because war is summoned, somebody assumes that it was war that started the apocalypse early, which in Darksiders 1, you take the role of war, and you're trying to prove your innocence by going through the world 100 years after the apocalypse has happened. So that's the basic premise of the game there. Just to give an idea of gameplay, it's very much God of War meets Legend of Zelda. That is the hack and slash of God of War plus the puzzle solving of Legend of Zelda. And they do it in some creative ways, but in a lot of ways that are pretty frustrating too. Now, I'm going to throw this out there right now. Darksiders is one of my very favorite series on the PS3. I love the games, but it's not because of the cool little scenes here and there. It's not because of the controls. It's one of the few games that I love it simply because of its storyline. It has an excellent story, and I've always been blown away by it. So that's one of the reasons I really follow it. I'm kind of curious to how they're going to end the series. They haven't announced Darksiders 3 yet. They're waiting for the final sales to come in Darksiders 2. They say the sales are high enough. Obviously, they're going to move on. So go buy Darksiders 2, please. But anyway, as I was saying, I love the story of it. Darksiders, it was a little bit clunky in presentation. War is a big, heavy, slow character in a fast-paced hack and slash game. So with that, I mean, it it's not really reactionary, and you can't really do much with your character. It's you kind of hit things until your weapon levels up, and you've only got a couple of weapons to choose from. One of the biggest gripes I have about the game is that it's a rip-off game in a lot of ways, and what I mean by that is that they take elements just straight out of other games that have worked for them, and they expect you not to believe that's where they came from. Like the third dungeon in the game, and yes, it's separated into dungeon segments even, which just gives us more of the Zelda feel, and this will just add to it too. You get a grapple gun, you get a grappling hook. Yeah, you want to talk about homage to Legend of Zelda? There it is. But I mean, it doesn't stop there. In the last dungeon, you get a portal gun. Not even kidding you. Red and blue portals, no less. Yeah. I know some of the fanboys are going to say, but it's orange. Don't care. Not a Portal fan. So, I mean, yeah, it's got some rip-offs like that, and I'm not impressed by that. However, again, it's the story. Some of the sections in the game are real frustrating. There's not as much development as I'd like to see in the story, but there's still enough of it to keep me going. You're running through the world, and as you progress, you find you encounter a demon named Samael. What he does is he promises a sense of power, if you will, to if you help him out escaping his prison. So that's one of the things you're doing is you're doing deeds for him, which is the main part of the story until he's free, and then you are allowed to chance at redemption. And the twist at the end was a little surprising. It's a little bit predictable about halfway through the game, but this is going to be one of the few that I'm not revealing a whole lot of spoilers because I want people to play this game. This is an excellent game. So, overall, Darksiders, as I said, I'm probably a little biased with it. It's a favorite. The original Darksiders, I'm only going to put it at a B-, just for my overall rating of the game. It's a good game, but there's a lot of room for improvement. So, with that, we're going to go ahead and we're going to move into Darksiders 2 now. Now, this game, story-wise, is happening simultaneous to Darksiders 1, where War is sitting there and he's trying to clear his name by finding evidence to say he didn't start the apocalypse. Death is happening in his own one, and he's not interested in finding that evidence. He's simply interested in righting the wrong. He's trying to bring back the fallen kingdom. He's trying to find a way to revive the kingdom of man while dealing with the sins of his own past. And he has several, I assure you. You're going away, Bob. So, anyway. Yes, and the gremlins don't have much to do this time because, well, it's pre-order season, so I'm picking the games until it's over. So, yeah, and it's Halloween is coming up, as you can obviously see. So, with that now, going into Darksiders 2. So, I mentioned the controls were very clunky and heavy from the first game. The second game did a lot to improve it. It's partially the controls, partially the character now. The game allows true 3D movement. You can climb up walls, you can jump off of them, you can scale back down things. You can run along the sides of walls, things that War couldn't do. The thing is that Death is much thinner and much more lithe than him, so he's much more dexterous, and he's got claws that allow him to do these kind of things. So he does do a lot of free running with his exceptional abilities, which is pretty cool. I really like the improvements there. That was very impressive. The game also allows you to customize Death with either your weapons or your armor. Now, there are two types of weapons. There are the big heavy things, and then there are the quick gauntlets. So depending on your playstyle, you can interlace the two of them with Death's default scythe, or you can just heavily rely on those and not even worry about the scythe, depending on how you like to play. So his armor is all fully customizable too. You can add and equip whatever you want. You can go ahead and just get the health regen that you want if that's the way you go, or you can get more wrath, which is how you cast spells. So it's very good in that way. I really like the improvements they made there. Now there are two skill trees in this game. Now in the previous game, you could buy skill upgrades for your weapons, but it was just really another added move to the combo. This game has two fully formed skill trees. That is the Harbinger skill tree, which is all is melee or the necromancer, which is all spells. Now, I went Harbinger because the first game spells were absolutely awful. So I'm told I'm completely wrong about that in this game. So I might play back again and just do that. Now, with that, you can go down the skills. You can customize what you want to get because you don't get enough points to get everything in the course of one playthrough. So you can really ramp up the stuff that you get in your armor and your weapons to kind of add on to that as well, if that's what you so desire. Now, one thing I'd like to note is that with Darksiders 2, because I got the pre-order bonuses and so on, there is DLC. Now, I'm going to throw this out here right now. I mentioned in my very first video that I'm doing things for their single-player campaign only. Now, with games with DLC, I am not doing anything with the DLC in my videos. I will play the DLC, but I'm not going to review DLC at all. Just because I think that would be way too time-consuming, and I'd have to make too many extra videos for that. So, one of the other issues that I had jumping from Darksiders 1 to Darksiders 2 is there is a character sheet with this game. Now, I've been playing RPGs for a very long time, so the character sheet doesn't intimidate me. What does intimidate me is not being able to read the character sheet. I actually had to go out and borrow an HD TV so that I could beat Darksiders 2. It suffers from the Dead Rising syndrome. If you're not familiar with that, it's that the text is too difficult to read on standard definition TVs. So that was kind of an issue. That was almost a game breaker right there for me. But the game overall, it is a lot longer than the first game, but the thing is, it still feels very short, and the ending comes very abruptly. I did not expect it right there when it happened. And it still leaves a few questions unanswered, but I think that they're leaving those out for Darksiders 3 and or 4, because as we know, there are 4 Horsemen of the Apocalypse. The other Horsemen get a little more mention this time, which is kind of cool, because they don't ever seem to be together. So again, I'm big on the story here. Darksiders 2 did a lot to address some of the really nasty things from Darksiders 1. There's a little more originality. The controls aren't as wonky. The combat style is beautifully fluid now. For being a sequel, they did a lot to improve on it. So I'm very impressed by that. Darksiders 2 is going to get an A-. It's right up there. As I said, the Darksiders franchise is still one of my favorites. So that does it with this video's reviews. So with that still leaves 2 games up in the air, and I am currently torn between the 2 of them, of which I'm going to play next. I think I'm getting close to beating XCOM. I think I am, but I'm not positive on that. Borderlands 2, I think I'm about in the middle. I don't know for sure. I'm telling people to keep story points away from me so that I don't have it ruined for me, because that will just irritate me. As you can tell, I'm a big gamer on story. So one of those videos will be reviewed next. And as I said, if I beat Borderlands next, I'm going to do the exact same thing I did with Darksiders. I'm going to review both the games side by side, because I have beat Darksiders 1. I said Darksiders, sorry. I have beat Borderlands 1. I've got all the DLC for it, but again, I'm not going to review it. So that'll be for its own time. So with that, it should not be months this time. As I said, I'm approaching the end of one of the games already. And we got Assassin's Creed coming out next week as well. So that kind of is where I'm at with the games right now, and hopefully this is going to become a little more frequent. As I said, after the pre-order season games are done and out of the way, I'm going to go back to good old Monster Rancher, and I will beat it and hopefully have a review of it up soon. So we'll see what happens with that. So with that, I guess until next time, I will see you all around.